The next game I decided to tackle was going to be Earthworm Jim, but then Gamecube games became available for RetroAchievements. Not only did they become available for RetroAchievements, but they also added an extra challenge, earning badges and a scoring system per individual. There are bounties, and I looked at the list. Well, guess what was on the bounty list for triple points? That's right, F-Zero GX. Let me start off by saying I love this game. This series is probably the only racing game I like. However, my mindset was all wrong. I thought because I knew how to snake that I would be able to get some of these achievements more easily. Starting off, I wanted to do story. So that's where I started. We see the opening cinematic and hop into the training session with Captain Falcon. We need to grab all of these capsules in 3 laps, and quickly. So I did. Keep in mind there are 3 difficulty levels for each chapter in the story: normal, hard, and very hard. I figure I do all 3 of these difficulties, then the rest can be easy pickings. We'll see how it goes. The training session went alright, it didn't take long. Then, we ramped it up to hard. May the Lord have mercy on my soul. It required what I felt like was near perfection on just the hard difficulty. I have no idea why I was thinking at this point in time. Why did I get myself involved with this game again? I need to master it now though, no second thoughts. Well, there will be plenty later. This training I thought might be the hardest one for a while. It took me a long time for me to get this one. An hour? Maybe? I didn't time it. I was so happy when I got it, but that was just the beginning of things to come. I thought the second chapter was going to be a lot easier than the hard training of the first chapter. I was wrong again. Keep in mind, I start off on normal first, then advance to the next difficulty. We go up against Samurai Goro, and boy, even on normal this guy is a huge pain in the ass. Even when boosting at the finish line, this bastard passes you up. The hell? That's not even fair, man. So you have to time it well, or if you're an expert snaker while dodging boulders, then you can do this easily. Can't say the same for hard mode though. This guy jet lines it from the start to the finish line. So, after a lot of trial and error, hoping that this guy hits a boulder or falls off, I developed a strat. Snake until a boulder shows up, then after you clear it, snake again, then repeat. It took a long time and it only got me to the end of the area before crashing several times. On both difficulties, mind you.
What? Why? Why'd it fail? Why?
However, I was finally able to acquire this retro achievement only just barely. I hadn't used up all of my boosts, realizing that Samurai Goro was still behind me. Thank goodness he got stuck behind a boulder allowing me to cross the finish line. That was sweaty enough. Only chapter 2 and I didn't even try very hard yet. That is fine though. I can think about that later. I figure again, the next course will be easier. This time, I wasn't too disappointed in saying that. On normal, I use the snaking method to outspeed the vehicles and stay ahead. It is an easy strat that doesn't allow them to catch up, even with rubber banding, unless I am just terrible with snaking. That is the case in some instances too. With that said, normal was done and I had to go to hard mode. It wasn't as much of a challenge either, so this one at least has some hope with very hard mode. Perseverance is key though, like it is going to be for what lies ahead. After beating these story chapters, once on normal and once on hard, I decided to have a good break and come back to do some more the next day available. So I'm back and refreshed. I have some free time before I hang out with my friends for a session of gaming. You know what? Let's continue from where I left off. Unlocking the 4th chapter in the story mode, then getting to it. Chapter 4 on normal. It only took me a few tries. You have to defeat all the vehicles so you can catch up to Michael Chain early. That, or he will slow down once you reach about 3,000 kilometers away. That was easy enough. So then I switched it up to hard mode since I want to do both normal and hard for each chapter to be able to continue purchasing the next chapters. Of course, hard mode. Everything is more frustrating, as I should know by now. It's not so difficult to catch up to Michael Chain, but I had a huge problem with him having too much health at the end. After several times, I thought of a nice little strategy. Using snaking, I caught up to vehicles, and in doing so, we used all their boosts, or most of them do. This means a small tap with an attack will knock them out. By doing that, I have whittled the racers from 30 to almost 10 in a small amount of time. However, I still need to defeat the rest of them to make Michael Chain slow down and attack me. This was the hard part. I have made it there several times, but it took some determination to take out his health. I had to spin and attack him several times. Even when I thought I had enough time to do this, I still didn't manage to defeat him. So a bit of it just came down to luck. I did beat him, but it took time. It seems time happens a lot when you're dealing with this game.
Mission clear.
Moving on, I managed to beat that chapter on normal and hard, so the next one is chapter 5. In this chapter of the story, Captain Falcon needs to rescue Jodie Summer from a plant that is about to explode, so it's a race against time. Again. No matter what it is in this game, it is a race against time. Not against a computer, it seems. Tackling this on normal, there is some leeway at least. I'm given 50 seconds and can make a few errors. It took me some trying, but I managed to beat it. At least it wasn't nightmarish on normal like some of these seem to be. Now I go to hard mode. So what's different? Not much really. Not a whole lot needs to be different when they cut the time from 50 seconds to 45 freaking seconds. I need to shave it under 45 seconds to attain victory here. So this took some time. It was a bit easier with the method that I use. Since I don't really want to get hit by anything, I use the L and R buttons to move instead of the control stick. This should make the vehicle centered, unless hit. It did work, but still took a lot of time for me to get down. I even made some mistakes with it. It doesn't matter though. I did manage to make it through and attain the achievement. It is easier than some of the prior chapters, so I'm not really complaining here. Here came along chapter 6. Thank goodness I'm not actually racing against time though. Instead, Falcon ended up with a bomb on his vehicle and he has to keep his vehicle above a certain speed or it will blow up. Reminds you of any particular movie?
There's a bomb on your bus! There's a bomb on your bus! There's a... What?
Anyway, I struggled with this only a little bit. I had to figure out what I wanted to do. Did I want max speed or do I want to keep acceleration? Finding the balance is the key. What your playstyle is. I found that if I moved the acceleration all the way up, then I'd have an issue with turning and sliding too easily. However, if I had max speed set, then it was too hard to make turns. I had a problem making really sharp turns, but I eventually overcame that, at least on normal. What is the difference with hard? Well, on normal there are large vehicles that move to the sides when you approach. On hard, there are smaller vehicles that are there to block your path and you need to maneuver around them. Yeah, this game is becoming more of a pain in the ass to get through by the chapter, and I still haven't touched very hard yet. I persevered and got through it though. Thank goodness. I needed a nice break as a reward after that. So that's what I did. I took a break. Same day, same stream mind you. I then came back and figured, why not go some more? My friends aren't able to make it today. So, I'll just continue. Little did I know what nightmare awaited me. This was a nightmare, pure and simple. I thought chapter 7 should be alright on normal. How hard could something on normal difficulty be? It's not like you have to be perfect. I was wrong. Oh, so wrong. This chapter made me feel so hopeless and it is just the normal difficulty. How hard can it be? Just way too hard. How you beat this without luck even on normal? I don't know. So this chapter made me think I'll just take like 30 minutes to get the achievement for this one and then it'll be a little bit more difficult on hard. No. In fact, this chapter might be easier on the higher difficulties. Why, you ask? Well, let me explain. You're in the Grand Prix. What this means is that it is an actual race. But there are mines on the field, places without borders so you can fall off, and molten metal or whatever that can damage you. On top of that, the racers, they attack you. That's fine, right? It's not like it is too hard to dodge the mines. Well, yeah, it's not hard to dodge the mines and even the liquid metal. That really isn't the issue. In fact, you can use them to your advantage. However, the racers are the problem. They're the biggest pain in the ass in this chapter. Not because they attack you, it's because they clump together in the small corridors and you take a ton of damage or get knocked away by their boosts. If that wasn't enough, the computer cheats like no tomorrow. Black Bull and Blood Falcon are the top 2 contenders that need to be dealt with. If you don't find a way to pass them and stay ahead, it's over. Restart. I tried max speed. I tried max acceleration. I tried snaking. I did it all. The only thing that got me close to beating this was having it not quite at max speed. This allowed me to stay around the top 5. Then it was a matter of what to do next. Keep in mind that I was trying to beat Blood Falcon and Black Bull, which just boost like mad at the end. I was tired. I was frustrated. I became numb. I also dropped cuss words here and there because, well, that's the kind of game this is. It is pretty unbalanced. That is saying something when I'm on this chapter and it's on normal. After 4.5 hours or so, it happened. It felt like a miracle. I had beaten it on normal.
Yes! Finally!
I had to end my stream. I couldn't bear to continue. I had lost track of time and realized I had been streaming for 7 hours or more. 7 hours. I never do 7 hours. This was the exception. Probably not going to be the only time this happens when I'm trying to master this tough as nails game. So why do I think Chapter 7 is easier on higher difficulties? Simple. The computer is more aggressive. All of them. This means that a good portion of the competition will be taken out. It also includes Black Bull and Falcon. So here's hoping it is how I see it. I really want to beat the story soon. Another day, another time for me to attempt getting through the story to get these achievements. I know what I have to do, so I boot up the game and get right to it. Chapter 7 on hard. I don't know why I chose this game to master, but damn! It really makes me think if I love or hate this game. I know I said that the higher difficulty should be easier, but I may have been wrong about how it differs. I was going off of what I had remembered. I thought I remembered there being more mines and I didn't see more. I thought the computer would be more aggressive, and they were to an extent. The problem still remained. I need to get in the lead to beat this chapter. The problem is Black Bull. It was just a hassle, and I did get tips while I was streaming on how to handle this chapter. However, they still said luck is required, and I believe it. The tip was on how to take out Black Bull early on. It took a while to understand how to do that, and it works for the most part. Due to user error, I couldn't get it all that often though. Some things changed. Like I said, taking out Black Bull was one of those. The other was playing more efficient. I did this by purposely hitting mines head on to boost my speed if they were available. I also nosedived for a boost of speed off of the jump and tried to land flat. This helped me maintain a decent lead. I still had a hard time even though I made all of these minor to significant improvements. I just barely was able to pass into first place again. Keep in mind that I went for about 3 hours of attempts before I managed to pull this one off. It was a terrible nightmare to go through this. It's such a relief that I was able to do it.
Yeah, thank goodness!
With that, I needed to rest. I had things to do. I'll be back for Chapter 8 and hopefully 9 soon. However, it still weighs on me that I need to do very hard in all of these chapters. A nightmare I'll see soon, I'm sure. I figure it is going to be a short series of attempts. I just need to beat Chapter 8 and 9 on normal and hard. Both shouldn't be too hard. Not compared to Chapter 7, which gave me hell. So I jump right into it. I boot up the game again. I purchase Chapter 8 and then I start. I thought I would attempt snaking. It was a bit complicated with everything in the way. Bombs being a problem. Going too fast also is a problem since you can go fast enough to throw yourself into a wall and disqualify yourself from the race. So it didn't work for me right now. What I decided to do is try to make my speed just enough to where I can smoothly transition with turns. After a few attempts, I was able to take control of the race and it was a matter of not making too many mistakes. Ultimately, I beat this on normal pretty easily compared to some other chapters. Then there is hard mode. How did I handle it? About the same. I ran into bombs head on, or at least tried so I get that free boost. I also made sure that I could boost easily. After going at it for a little while, I was able to determine when I should boost, which was quite often. There are refills for your boost all over the place. This one wasn't as frustrating. Now that leaves Chapter 9. Here you are facing a staff ghost at its least experienced. It actually wasn't too hard on normal. I would say it is the easiest chapter in the story just because you can't turn into anything and as long as you stay on the map, you're pretty much going to beat this. At least on normal. Comparing Chapter 9 Hard to Chapter 9 Normal is pretty simple. The Staff Ghost is a bit more competitive. I had to make turns much better than I did on Normal. I also needed to utilize my boost much better as well. It took me a number of tries and there was a bit of frustration with it, but if you make it to this chapter, it is quite the accomplishment. I have achieved what I wanted for this time of playing. I beat story on Normal and Hard in all chapters. The biggest challenge is yet to be realized though, being story mode chapters on Very Hard. Hopefully I don't break myself while attempting this, but that is for another day. The next day has come. It is time to start story on Very Hard. While it's true that I could have done this the other day, I wanted to wait to start Very Hard later. The time has come and I begin Chapter 1. I need to collect 35 capsules in 60 seconds. This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
I started off trying to get a route down in my head. I thought it would be too complicated by how others have done this chapter. I looked at it and thought, nah, I have an easier way, but it turned out to be way too tight turn-wise. I would have to react so fast at the end to collect 3 capsules that I ultimately gave up on doing it that way. That was the major issue right there. I had to change up my strategy. I needed to find out a way to collect all the capsules in order that I could remember and then getting to the end so I can collect the final capsules easier. Guess what? I ended up using the same strategy that was shown to me. I just kind of had to train myself for that. For reference, I put my vehicle on max speed because you don't want to hit corners anyway. That, and you'll be boosting the majority of the time while collecting them. This made it extremely hard to get down, and as the chapter states, it's training. Training your mind, eyes, and reaction time to get all of these capsules. I had a few close calls. I almost made it several times, but the one that got me the most was this one.
What? It's like, it's almost frame perfect, man. Oh my gosh. The game didn't know what to do at first. You saw that? It's like, time out? Question mark? Yeah, mission failed.
As you can see, I was quite devastated. How does that even happen? The game didn't even know what to do, but decided that I didn't make it. I eventually got this Tough as Nails achievement and got through the chapter. It took me a grueling 3 hours of constant retries to get it. However, I'm glad I was able to get this achievement. It took its toll on me though, and I really couldn't bear to try another chapter, so I took a break and will save myself the headache. Another day for achievements in F-Zero GX. Going from where I left off in the story on Very Hard. The first chapter was a nightmare, so I shouldn't expect anything less with the next chapters. However, I do have some strategies for them. Starting off with Chapter 2 on Very Hard, I had looked at how others had accomplished this feat. I turned the speed to near max and focused on the dodging of the boulders. It surprisingly only took me a few tries to win. I was kind of shocked by the fact that I was able to boost at the end and still be ahead after the mistakes I had made. The whole idea was to dodge boulders and boost near the end towards the final set of boulders. Maneuver around them and then boost to the finish line. It worked like a charm. I got this achievement and I'm happy with it. Now for Chapter 3. Chapter 2 had gone well, but maybe Chapter 3 will be harder? I don't think so. I looked up a strat for this too. I put it on nearly max speed and started the race. Surprisingly, this only took a few tries as well. Where I had struggled with other chapters, this one came a bit easier. For the most part, with the speed, I focused on small optimizations, which I will have to go into more detail later. This will all be stated in the Grand Prix, as I'm sure I'm going to need it. That or before Grand Prix. For now, I was able to get this achievement and felt pretty good about it. That means I advanced to Chapter 4, getting at Michael Chain and defeating him. I figured I'd do the strat with snaking to move on up to defeating a bunch of enemies, but ultimately, it didn't work for me. I couldn't snake too well, and I took a lot of damage, which means I needed to optimize. So what I did was switch to almost max speed and focused on destroying as many as I could while I recover on the energy refill. By this time, there should only be about 10 racers left. After that, I had hoped for extra time to destroy Michael Chain. It took a few attempts as well, but ultimately, I caught up and beat him with little time to spare. Then, there is Chapter 5. What can I say about this? The previous chapters only took me about 45 minutes in all, so I need to at least try Chapter 5 even though I don't feel like it. So I attempted it. Many times. I played this level so much. I had the vehicle on max speed and it took a while. I feel like I had perfected the movement. So, what happened? No matter how hard I try, I keep failing. Why is the time so tight? How do I beat this? It looks like it will take a miracle. Even when I was playing optimally, I didn't have enough time to make it to the door. I got so frustrated that I just had to take a break. I don't know what I'm supposed to do to improve my time. So, I'm done for now. I'll be back next time with more optimizations and figure out where I can save time. Time for me to get back to it. I had done another stream just to beat this chapter. However, I had failed completely at it. I improved everywhere I could, and I couldn't figure out what to do further. I looked online for more information on how to optimize my speed. I learned about momentum throttle. What you do is let go of the gas as the boost is ending, then boost again. Letting go of the gas after the boost lowers the speed at which your speed is decreased. This allows you to get a faster time, so I did that. However, it didn't really help me improve my time. What else can I do? What I have been doing on top of the momentum throttle wasn't working. What else is there to cut? At times I performed perfectly and still was 1 to 2 seconds too slow. Then it dawned on me. I simply can't use L and R anymore. No matter how little I was using it to align myself, I lost too much speed. I tried using the control stick and it was a disaster. At the start, if you push too much, you just slide all over. If you push too little, you just run into something. It seemed hopeless and pointless. That is, until a friend of mine made a suggestion, which actually came in handy. I was scared to try it, but I had nothing to lose. My friend, the Final Sloth, made the suggestion to use a combination of L and R with a control stick. My speed improved dramatically, and went from being 1 to 2 seconds behind in time to half a second to 1 second away from victory. I was still at a loss. I couldn't beat this damn level. I felt defeated, and I had no energy to attempt again. I was too frustrated, and so I waited for the next time I play this. So, I had started the game up again. I did the same thing I was doing before. The suggestion that the Final Sloth had made, and I had the same results. I did almost make it, so I thought if it was easier, I can keep trying. Ultimately, it didn't work. So what worked? How did I beat this excruciating chapter on very hard? I found success in a combination of things. 1. I used momentum throttle at the start, which boosted my speed to nearly 1600 kilometers. 2. I used L and R buttons to make it through the half-pipe sections. 3. After I aligned myself with the boost replenish, I switched to control stick and hoped that it was enough. That is how I beat this chapter. Chapter 5 is idiotic in its difficulty. The idea that a professional speedrunner of the game got a time of 36.5 seconds shows how brutal this chapter really is. I'm not sure why the devs decided to torment others with this chapter, but that is what it is. Pure torment. I don't even know if the devs playtested this chapter on very hard. I made it to the end a few times, and one of those times, just one, I made it there in time and hit the top of the door.
What? The F?
It wasn't closed. I just hit and fell on the ground. What a load of BS. Anyway, with that chapter done, I moved on to chapter 6. Remember that we have a bomb attached to our vehicle. This time, going below 800 kilometers will detonate it. Not really that big of a deal. Not much has changed in this chapter. Sure, there are a little bit more vehicles, but the problem lies in pretty much a single turn. There are 3 huge factors for this chapter when I think about it. The first one was, as stated, a really sharp turn. To handle this sharp turn and keep up the speed, I had to learn yet another technique, drift turning. There was just no other way for me to make this easily. So what is drift turning? You hold L and R and then turn. As you turn, you release the button you don't turn with. In this case, I would release R to make a sharp left drift turn. This keeps my speed up and transitions smoothly. With that problem out of the way, the next issue is a narrow passage with vehicles that can block your path. I try to get past the vehicles to make this easier. That way I have an open narrow path. I then have to focus by gently pushing the control stick to move so slightly away from the wall, and if I hit it, I will need to boost. After that, I have one more obstacle, and it is big. Sand traps. I need to boost past those, which is easy, but then there is a couple of sharp turns and sand traps all over the raceway with traffic. How I handled this was making sure I had enough boost and made sure to boost towards the center. The cars will move out of the way. You would think I was home free after that, and you mostly are, except for one problem. You have a few turns, and one of those turns is hard to see. If you get tapped, you blow up and need to start over again. Fortunately, after making it there a few times, I got past this chapter. Much easier than Chapter 5.
Yes.
On to the next part of the story, Chapter 7, the Grand Prix. This one I thought would be easier. So how did it go? Well, it went pretty well despite a few setbacks. I had a hard time getting in the lead and staying there at the start of my attempts. Mostly adjusting to the course and trying not to get demolished by the opponents. I'm familiar with optimizing my speed, so it wasn't as difficult as past attempts. I had my settings figured out and knew to make sure that I nosedived and bounce out before I land. It was just a matter of knowing when to boost. Actually, that isn't completely true. I couldn't make the real sharp turns without hitting the walls and taking a hit on my speed. So how did I compensate? Well, I utilized the quick turn. How it works is hold L and R, then tapping in the direction you want to go. If you just release the buttons, you get a drift, which isn't what you want. What you want is to change it from a drift into a turn. You do this by holding L and R, tapping the direction you want, and then letting go of the L or R button. In this instance, the R button. With that, it was just a matter of time. In all, it took me about 20 to 30 minutes to get through this chapter. Not bad. I felt pretty good about that. Only 2 chapters remain on very hard, and the next one shouldn't be too bad. Right?
Got it.
So here I am, Chapter 8, very hard. It shouldn't be that bad. The hardest is behind me now. With a little patience, I should be able to make my way through this. So I start on Chapter 8. Well, it sucks. The devs were probably laughing their asses off with this one as well. While not as bad as Chapter 5, it still gave me a headache. I switched up my settings between max speed to balanced, to leaning in different areas of the graph, to max acceleration. When that didn't work, I resorted to trying to destroy the opponent, then trying to lob myself off a bomb onto the other side of the track. I never said I had great ideas. I thought it would work. Also, you can actually destroy him, but he has a ton of health. It felt endless, but still, nothing compared to Chapter 5. Yeah, that chapter. Anyway, what worked? First, let me address the course. The situation is pretty abysmal. It certainly does look like hell to me, at least for this course. You have bombs all over the course, sharp turns to make, and lava to boot. The other thing? Yeah, like you need something else to worry about. Well, if you hit a bomb wrong, you get sent flying off the course. It's not only hitting the bomb wrong, but sometimes if you go too fast, you just fly off the course. Also, when you catch up to your rival, he has a tendency to one-shot me due to him being a strong attacker. Now that that is out of the way, here is how everything works. Set the vehicle to max speed. Hit the bombs early on to clear them out in a way that you get a boost from them, and you know where to go when boosting so you don't accidentally run into them later on. While doing that, I need to make sure that I made sharp turns. Quick turns. What else was there to look out for? Well, I had to keep in mind that I had to boost like mad through the course. Consistency is key here. Over time I was able to catch up and pass Deathborn. But there is a problem. I kept messing up or getting destroyed by him. Yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. I eventually got to a point where I had nothing but focus. I was so intent on winning this chapter that I really didn't know which lap I was on. I kept concentrating on needing to be ahead and performance. I was 1 second ahead of him in the final lap, and didn't know it was the final lap. I thought I wasn't doing too well, and before I knew it, the mission was clear. Thank the good Lord that this mission is done. It is as it looks. Like hell. final chapter has come. Chapter 9. I had just got done watching a movie with my family and having dinner. So what do? I get on and go for this final chapter. I guess the thing I need to say is that I did some research and saw how to do this chapter. However, I couldn't get it quite right. I thought maybe snaking would help, and it would if I could stay on the map. Again, I'm not the best snaker. Then I tried different settings again. That didn't work. I also tried boosting off the map. What is that? Well, let me explain. To boost off the map, you need to almost go off the edge of the map and then get back on it. It is very dangerous and a little scary. I failed several times doing this. Was it worth it? In the end, yes. Yes, it was. To an extent. I was frustrated with this chapter as well. But the thing is, it wasn't the worst chapter. That remains to be that wretched chapter 5. So now it is about what works for me. What did work? Well, first off, getting the boost off the edge of the map helped a lot. I got ahead by half a second to a second most times. Then what remained was optimization. So, how did I manage to optimize it? Well, boosting off the edge of the map helped quite a bit. What matters is where and when you boost though. In the second lap, you want to boost at the start until you are about halfway through your bar. Then, make the large turn and boost. After the second large turn, boost off the ramp. Now here is the important part. You want to nosedive and flatten out on the ground to maintain the speed. Then boost again so the speed doesn't go down. You have to do this while making the turns to stay on the track. Do that, and you stay ahead. Next up, the third lap. It's the same thing. Boost in the same areas. Optimize to your full potential and then hope that you can do the same thing you did in lap 2. After learning all of this, I finally managed to beat this damn story. Was it worth it? Hell yeah! Do I want to go through it again? Hell no. This mode was terrible. I understand the design of such levels, but demanding almost near perfection on most of these levels just sucks. There is no way that I would recommend playing the story for this game. However, it is the only way to unlock the AX racers. On top of that, if you want to master this game, you're in for a ride.
I wanna take you for a ride.
So, now it's pretty much clean up for all the achievements. Beat all cups on each difficulty, get half the racers, get all racers, unlock all tracks, unlock all alternate songs, get all interviews with all racers, and finally, unlock the videos for each racer. Let's grind this sucker out starting with Captain Falcon. Here we go. So the time has come. I hop into it. I need to unlock half the roster and all of the roster. However, I didn't have enough tickets to do so. So I start off with beating Novice and Standard Cups. This is a process. Neither of them are a challenge, but it has to be done. So I do some Novice and Standard here. I get enough tickets to unlock the roster and then I do so. It takes a bit of time, but it's nothing considering what I went through to get the other retro achievements. This pretty much sums up what I did for the remainder of the stream. Just Novice and Standard while unlocking all characters. It was smooth unlike other certain retro achievements for this game. It's been a bit. Since it is going to take some time to get all the retro achievements, I have been doing Novice and Standard offline. I don't need to show every race or this would be a never-ending video. The process is a drag in itself. I keep records of who I beat what with as well. Since I made my return to stream this game, I decided to finish where I began. I need to beat Diamond Cup on Expert. I do this. Was it easy? Meh. It is what it is. However, after that it is on to Master. Another difficult as hell mode. The racers are extremely aggressive, and a lot of times it feels like they cheat. However, the first cup, Ruby Cup, wasn't super difficult, but challenging enough. I get a few of the retro achievements I need here. Now, for Sapphire Cup. This cup is a bitch. Yeah, I said it. It absolutely sucks and it makes me wonder how I'm going to handle the other cups on Master. There were a lot of times I didn't know how to be as efficient on a course and had to rely on either destroying my rivals or hoping that they finish in a bad place. RNG. I know, right? With all the stress, it still doesn't compare to what Story had. At least I can leave that behind me. For now. Still, I have 2 cups to master. That is if I don't include the final cup, the AX Cup. However, I still need to unlock them and the courses. After that, it'll be on to the time attack to get good times and defeat the staff ghosts. Another day, another dollar, they say. In this case, it's another day of torture. I had done a lot of races offline because it doesn't make sense to record them all. It's all just winning novice, and I'm still on that. So what to do? Well, the master difficulty for Emerald and Diamond. Just like I thought it would. Emerald on Master simply sucks. It took me quite a while to get the hang of the courses. The first course was a big pain. It took me a while to get it down. Always being on a cylinder makes it a very painful experience. What happened to work for me was boosting when others boost, or if I missed a boost. Then, at the end, I would boost at the home stretch. The second course is also a pain. What isn't a pain in this cup? Instead of being on the outside of a cylinder, you're actually in it for about 50% of the course. Kinda makes it hard to maneuver. It's whatever though. Just like the other course, I had to figure out when to utilize boost for efficiency. Even with that, it is still as hard as nails. The third course is actually pretty simple. The other vehicles aren't that good at the course, so it makes this one easier than the rest. It's not all that easy as some of the racers. The rivals can gain on you pretty quickly. In all, I at least was able to compete in this one rather easily. Just keep on boosting and know when the refills are coming up. Now, the fourth course. Here, I don't even know anymore. Most times I got here I was in a bad position due to my rivals' winnings. It's not as bad as it seems, but knowing when to drift and boosting is a must. It will always be a must on Master. The hardest part about this course is that if you seek to eliminate a rival, it could be your end. Why is that? Well, the course is mainly a half pipe that has all kinds of changes to it with the ability to always fall off. Not only that, but with stages like this is where you find out that through no fault of your own, you just get knocked off because someone tapped you. The final course was also a pain, mainly because you're clumped together with the other racers, so making it ahead early is a must. If not, you'll be trying to avoid a crowd full of vehicles. It also features a bunch of twists and turns, a few of those turns being rather sharp as well. The hardest thing is being able to identify when to boost and when not to, so you can keep extra health in case you're getting hit. With all that said, if you beat this on Master, congratulations, you're one step closer to the end. Now it's Diamond on Master. The first course isn't that much of a pain, but being fast enough to get first is another story. I failed more times than I can count with trying to eliminate other vehicles to make the later races easier on myself. That and Fat Shark is a problem. No matter how fast I was, he always seemed to eke out first place, even when I was boosting like mad. The second course was a huge problem. It's scary because there are a lot of dead ends that will leave you just like that, so you have to turn a lot. You'd think you can go fast enough by going easy and boosting when you want, but no, you can't. You want to be boosting while making those turns and have just enough to boost at the end. Course 3, of course, was an issue as well. There isn't a course in this cup that didn't cause me issues. It is straightforward. Not a lot of obstacles per se. The biggest issue was finding the right time to boost, and that didn't take as long as I thought. The course has its bumpy moments as there are literal bumps in the road that can offset your vehicle. I learned a long time ago, don't get hit while on a bumpy road. Don't try to eliminate anyone while it's bumpy either. It is very dangerous to do. For the most part, you'll just want to boost and try to get first rather than eliminate the competition. The fourth course on Diamond is actually not that bad at all, so I take it back. This one wasn't as frustrating. 1 course out of 5 isn't that great though. It is pretty simple to get ahead. Once you do, make sure that you utilize boost as much as possible. That and nosedive a lot, then flatten out. Doing this helps with the lead. I'm glad that I didn't have to spend too much time figuring the course out. Also, it's pretty fun. The final course of this cup is the biggest nightmare. This is why I wanted a good sized lead before I made it here. Even when I did make it here and have a decent rank, I was still basically hoping that luck would be on my side for the win. It is a harsh course. Getting ahead is a huge problem. This is one deadly course. It is filled with dead ends and narrow pathways, so getting ahead is difficult and so is staying ahead. You need a great amount of control to get through this. I couldn't figure it out yet. In any case, I eked out a narrow victory because the rivals did poorly, just like myself. However, with the points that I got, plus the points that the rival got, I stayed ahead. Thank goodness. With that done, it was time to visit the shop and unlock all of the AX courses available there to get the cup. While I was there, I also unlocked an alternative song. After that, I went for the AX Cup on Novice. I did the AX Cup on Novice, then Standard so I can get a feel for the courses, saving Expert for the next time that I want to stream this game. It was an interesting experience. Most of the courses seem fun, but optimizing some of them will be an issue. That and these courses can be very lengthy, about 4 minutes to beat them. I got these 2 retro achievements no problem. I couldn't end it there, not with so few retro achievements earned, so I went back to the shop and bought all of the parts there. This gave me 3 more retro achievements. That, and I got the extra course that I had unlocked as well. That, I needed to rest some more. I'll be back for more. At this time, I have beat everyone on Novice 3 times for the basic 3 questions. Yet, here I am, still needing to finish the AX Cup on Expert and Master. So I get to it. Expert wasn't such a big deal. The courses are surprisingly easier for me than what was on Diamond, Sapphire, and Emerald. It's Master that got me a little roughed up. Honestly though, I beat Master pretty easily. It just turned out in my favor. Since I have had plenty of time, I figure I'll start on Time Attack and unlock Staff Ghost. So that's what I did. I played 5 courses to unlock the Staff Ghost. However, on the 3rd course I accidentally went too fast and unlocked the achievement to beat the Staff Ghost time early. Whatever. So I had 4 courses to go. I bought all the Staff Ghost unlocks and then proceeded to get the first course done. That didn't take long at all. I figured the 2nd course would be simple. How many times do I need to be proven wrong? This course was a headache. I tried to snake, which did work on the first lap. Did I mention how much of an expert I'm not at snaking? I ran into walls several times and couldn't control myself too well. It was frustrating, so I looked up a video. Fat Shark was the answer. Hitting all boosts and boosting at the right times, I managed to get this achievement. It wasn't fun at all, but it's a success that I'm proud of. After the 2nd course, I went over to Course 4 since Course 3 was done. Again, a nightmare. I tried using Fat Shark to get through the course, but I was still too slow. I was trying to figure it out on my own, but I had to look it up in the end. The character of choice was Michael Chain. It is hard to control the characters in this game at high speeds. It took a lot of time, anger, and patience to get through this course. When I did, I beat the Staff Ghost by 0.010 of a second. I can't believe I did it. What the hell? It didn't give me the damn achievement. So now I'm more frustrated. It didn't give me an achievement even though I had successfully beaten the ghost. So after some more anger and patience, I finally was able to eke out this win. This time by half a second. Finally giving me the achievement. Words doesn't do this game justice. The first order of business is to take care of the Aeropolis Multiplex course. I need to get a time faster than the Staff Ghost. Initially I tried to snake and failed. Then I switched to some other characters. It didn't go well. Ultimately, I went back to my snaking roots and got a time fast enough to beat the Staff Ghost on this course. It took some time, but when I did it, I shattered the time I needed to beat. Since I do 1 cup at a time, I go on to the next course, which is in the Sapphire Cup. The course is Big Blue Drift Highway. As the name suggests, this is a great course to drift in, which means that it is good for snaking. So much so that I got the unlock for the Staff Ghost and beat its time pretty quickly. Port Town Aerodive was next on the list. It was a fairly easy one to get to unlock the Staff Ghost, so not much needs to be said. After that was Green Plant Mobius Ring. I also got this pretty quickly. Port Town Long Pipe was a huge problem for me. I tried snaking through it and it was so much slower, so I switched to some other racers and ended up settling on the Beast Driver. I had watched a video that seemed to make it look like it was easier to get this done with that one. After a while of attempts, I finally got the unlock to purchase the Staff Ghost. Ute City Serial Gaps. What can I say about this beautiful piece of work? Nothing good. That's what I can say. It was hard enough racing on this track, but now going as fast as possible to beat a Staff Ghost? It's a nightmare. I got easily frustrated on this one. I quickly went to see a video to see how others did it. It looked like PJ was the go-to driver. so I played him. However, it also looked like the player drove off and boosted onto another part of the track to save time. I couldn't replicate that, and it drove me nuts. I even tried it with boosting. I still couldn't do it. So I went back to the old strat of snaking. Why not? How much worse could I do, you know? After a ton of attempts, I finally unlocked the staff ghost. Yeah, all that work just to get a time worthy of unlocking the staff ghost to buy. Lovely. So I go back to the struggle. The Port Town Aero Dive track. I need to beat the staff ghost time, and I was only a few seconds off. I can say that it felt quite good to get this time done with in a decent time. Of course, my time was up after getting this achievement, so I got off to rest because I deserve it. This is starting to take a while. I'm still doing offline work at this point. That's right, I called it work. That's all it is to me at this point in time for getting these erasers done. In the meantime, I booted up another stream and had a go at the next time attack. So it's Green Plant Mobius Ring. There's not a lot to say. Just like other things in this game, it was difficult. I switched between racers and I still had a hard time getting it down. In the end, I just snaked on here as efficiently as I could to get a good time. Snaking alone doesn't guarantee that you'll get a good time. You can't just bump into things, and you have to know when to stop so you don't go flying everywhere. Next up, Port Town Long Pipe. This one was trash. Complete and utter trash. You can't really snake on here since the surface is never really even. When I did try, it was pretty ineffective. So what does that leave one with? Well, about 4 hours of grinding for a time to beat the staff ghost. I ultimately ended up using Fat Shark since he has great max speed and gave me the best time out of the other characters I tried. The problem with this stage is that you have to know where the boosts are so you can use your boost in conjunction with them. This allows you to get a ton of speed. Now that the speed portion is taken care of, it's about dodging everything and hoping that you don't get slowed down when making some transfers. The biggest obstacles were the blades in between the two major sections. However, I once again persevered and made it through with just barely enough time saved to beat the staff ghost time. I don't know by how much, and I really don't care. It's done. The next time I booted this up, I went to the Mute City Serial Gaps track and snaked my life away. Fortunately, it didn't take too long to get the achievement for beating the staff ghost's time. After that, it is once again unlocking the staff ghosts that need to be done. So that's exactly what I did. At this point, since it was just unlocking the staff ghosts, not a whole lot needs to be highlighted. They all represented their challenges, and beating those times are definitely going to be a challenge. Firefield Cylinder Knot does not disappoint with that. Maximizing speed and beating the staff ghost time is going to be no joke. I tried for a little bit before I got tired and then practiced offline. At this point in time, I'm likely going to be recording offline as well so I can have more time invested in this project. This is one daunting task, so I resorted to other methods. Since I want to capture the reality of getting these time attacks done and within a reasonable time, I recorded it offline. Cylinder Knot has been one tough cookie to get through. You know the cookie, the one that you try to take a bite into, but it's as hard as a rock so it hurts to bite down on it? Yeah, that's the one. I spent probably a total of 6 hours or more trying to beat the staff ghost time. I won't go into full detail on it, but I managed to get this one with some help through a fact. Same with the rest of these. Plant intersection, double branches. Green Plant intersection seemed like it would prove hard to get, but it didn't take as long as I thought it would. I felt rushed to get there as I should in a racing game. However, I managed to make it in good time. There's not much to say about what to do here. When you get the boost, it's a must to keep up your speed as much as you can. You can't worry about hitting the sides too much, but know when not to boost at that turn. Otherwise, you'll likely go flying off the course. I need to beat a time of 3 minutes on this course. Casino Palace, double branches isn't too difficult of a course. However, getting the time you need to beat the staff ghost can be. Like I had mentioned previously, try to know where all the boosts are so you can have top speed for a long period and know when not to boost so you don't go flying off the stage. It's a long course, so there is a bit of endurance to it. Lightning Half Pipe was a bit frustrating. You can use the snaking method to get the time, but I tried that and I wasn't too good at keeping the vehicle stable enough. So the result was doing this the good old-fashioned way. Like with all courses, you'll need to utilize the boost pads well in combination with your own boosts. Getting a long stretch of boosting to get top speed on this course. The other things to look out for are making sure you know how to turn well when the sharp curves come up. Knowing how to do that and turning efficiently is the key to being the staff ghost on this track. Big Blue Ordeal was an ordeal, to put it lightly. I just couldn't reach the right speed normally, so that put me back with snaking. However, snaking on this course was a bit of a nightmare. The wide areas are nice, but then it is tied together with curves and small sections that if you even tap the control stick in the slightest, you'll likely hit the wall. This made me miserable. The only way I managed to beat the staff ghost was by going up against my own ghost and profiting off of the time I lost as a ghost. Knowing how far I was ahead at certain points gave me hope that I could beat the time, and I did. I decided to finally get back to Time Attack on stream. Starting out with Cosmo Terminal, Trident. I used Fat Shark to get maximum speed, and the rest was just choosing the right path. Aside from that, there isn't a whole lot to say. After that course comes Sand Ocean Lateral Shift. This one is a huge pain in the butt. I know that if I got past it, I should have an easier time along the way. The easiest way to beat this was with Fat Shark once again, and using a method to almost fall off and get back on the course to gain a huge boost of speed. By trying to perfect that, I was able to make it through this course and beat the Staff Ghost's time. Glad that's over with. Next up, Firefield Undulation. This is a course that is thought to be a challenge at first, but what I did was use a custom machine. The Frost Cannon G4, which holds a lot of speed, has good boost, and handles bumps well. I also have the driver of Fat Shark as the racer. This made it pretty easy to get the time I needed to beat the Staff Ghost time. Granted, it did take me a few tries. This is probably the best course of action. Aeropolis Dragon Slope is next on the list. I simply used the Fat Shark to beat the Staff Ghost time, and it's a pretty easy time to beat. Simply nosedive then flatten out before each landing. Using this, I beat the Staff Ghost no problem. Phantom Road Slim Line. It is a rather annoying course. So many narrow pathways. So, how do I approach it? By using the Frost Cannon G4, of course. With a bit of time and practice, I managed to beat the time easily. I then bought the Staff Ghost and went on my merry way to the next set of courses I have to do in Time Attack, which is in AX. Starting with Aeropolis Screwdrive. The method is simple. You don't have to hurt your hands with snaking to get a good time. I never did injure my hands with it anyway. I used snaking with Black Bull, and before long, I got the time I needed. Outer Space Meteor Stream was pretty much the same. Use Black Bull to snake. In a few minutes, I beat the Staff Ghost time. Simple. Port Town Cylinder Wave was a bit different. Initially, I started out by snaking with Black Bull, and that got me within range. But the problem was the lack of control, so it really didn't work too well for me. What I did instead was switch to the Frost Cannon G4 and capitalize off that instead. Lightning Thunder Road was an okay course. I thought it should be a pretty simple one to beat the time in, and it was. It did take a few tries, but it was much the same as the other ones. I was able to snake my way to the top. Green Plant Spiral is a long one, but like the others, I simply couldn't pass up snaking here. It's simple and not so hard to do on this course. Just have to know where not to snake, mainly at the start area where you can fall off easily. Keeping that in mind, I managed to beat the Staff Ghost time easily, but with some patience as it's a long course. Finally came Mute City Sonic Oval, the final course to beat the Staff Ghost time in. To get the time, I just used Black Bull once again and snaked all the way through the course. It is the easiest way to get it. Also, I did this on my first try. I have reached the conclusion of most of the over-the-top difficult achievements in the game. Now all I have to do is get those interview questions. I set out to get Master done with everyone, and I figured I knew which question everyone would have to answer. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out to be the case. Instead, I ended up having to do Master 4 times on one Grand Prix. That was irritating. I had no idea which one was the one I needed, and the questions chosen made me lose track of which questions I needed. So as a result, I had to do Master 4 times, something I am trying to avoid at all costs. So what I did instead was finished off what I needed done with Fat Shark, and then continued to grind out the rest of the racers to prepare them for the achievements. There's nothing left to do at this time but get the Grand Prix interviews done and the master difficulty with each racer. So what else is there to say? Is it difficult? Maybe. I don't think it should be too challenging. So there is only one thing left to do. Montage.
Lost in the dark, I'm staring at the screen. Lost in the chaos, it's not what it seems. Every level's a beast, every boss a curse. But I won't surrender, I'll make it through the worst. Grit and grind, I'm in the zone. Heart pounding like a metronome. Victory's a heartbeat away. I won't back down, I will slay. I'm breaking through the code. I'm smashing through the walls. Unleashing all the fury. Gonna watch them all fall. I'm breaking through the code. I'm smashing through the walls. Unleashing all the fury. Gonna watch them all fall. From pixelated shadows to the final fight. I'm conquering the challenge coming out of the night. Glitch and grind, the path is unclear, but I'm driven by the challenge, fueled by my fear. Every hit, every miss, it's a test of my will. Rising from the ashes of this game to mine. Grit and grind, I'm in the zone. Heart pounding like a metronome. Victory's a heartbeat away. I won't back down, I will slay. I'm breaking through the code. I'm smashing through the walls. Unleashing all the fury. Gonna watch them all fall. I'm breaking through the code. I'm smashing through the walls. Unleashing all the fury. Gonna watch them all fall. From pixelated shadows to the final fight. I'm conquering the challenge coming out of the night. Racing through the levels of a storm in this digital battlefield. I'm taking on the form of a warrior unyielding, a hero on a brink. With every pixel shattered, my legends being made.
In conclusion, this game is fun but extreme. I don't recommend going for master right away like I did. It took almost 3 months for me to master it. The main problems being story on very hard and the time attack modes. I still like this game despite all it has put me through. I'm the 7th person to master this game. If you're up for a challenge, then go for it. Just know that this game will test you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share if you enjoyed the video. What lies ahead for me? Well, all I can say is...
Head to the go-go,